when the Bible speaks about the first woman according to its narrative, which is the woman called Eve, the Bible says that she shall be an Ezer in Hebrew, an Ezer. The full phrase is an Ezer Kanegdo, but she's called an Ezer, which is usually translated as helpmeet. But people who know Hebrew know that that's a very weak translation. The term Ezer literally means to deliver. For instance, there's a passage in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 7 where the Creator delivers the children of Israel and saves them from the hand of the Philistines. He tells Samuel the prophet, erect a stone pillar, and in honor of the fete that I just performed, this stone pillar will be symbolic that I delivered and saved the children of Israel. And that pillar was called Eben Ezer. And that's why today almost every Black Baptist church, what's the name? Ebenezer Baptist Church. That comes right out the Bible. Ebenezer, Eben Ezer, stone of deliverance. So in understanding that, in introducing woman to man, the Creator says, she shall be your Ezer. Let's be clear. How can she deliver man if she does not possess a quality that he doesn't, which is simultaneously higher than any quality he possesses? I want you to think about that carefully. And I'm speaking to the listening audience. How can a woman act as a deliverer to man if she does not possess a quality that he does not have, and simultaneously one which is higher than any quality that he has?
So, but let's go back to here. Even with the story that you broke down, what does that say about the woman? Because we need clarity.
Right.
Are you saying that there is a female god, a female deity? That's what we need clarity.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So let's be clear on that. What the Bible calls Elohim, which is the masculine plural for the Hebrew word for God, that's a composition of both male and female energy. For instance, when we speak of electricity, anyone who's an electrician can tell you we speak of the positive and the negative polarities of how energy is facilitated. When we talk about how the Bible introduces mankind, both woman and man, when you go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, it says, God created man in his image. In the image of God created he him. And in his image, he created them, male and female. I stop and I ask a question. If it's the belief for those who follow the Bible that God is a masculine presence, a masculine entity or deity exclusively, then why is it that the image of God is male and female? So what we come to understand is that what we're calling God is a composition of both male and female. But what I like to point out in my work is that when you look at the Hebrew term for God, which is Elohim, I point out that the term, it begins with Elo, which is the feminine way of saying God. A lot of people took issue with that. And I just want to guess, the reason why most people take issue with that is because, number one, they don't read the Bible in Hebrew. Even those that profess to be Hebrew teachers, of which you have, small pockets of people in the community that no one really knows and kind of starve for attention. And they're looking to make a name. So those would be the people that'll bite the apple and say, I don't believe that this brother is looking at the language correctly because I don't think what he said was in sync with the language. I don't think that the word God has any feminine connotation to it, which really points to their Western subjective upbringing.
Now, that was deep. That part right there, when you broke down with polite, you said something about the feminine. It started with the feminine.
It started with the feminine.
What was you talking about?
So
that started with the feminine.
In the word Elohim,
right,
it ends with a masculine plural.
But it starts with the feminine
But it begins with a feminine noun,
what
Elo, Elo, which is spelled
Elo.
in Hebrew, Aleph, Lamed, Wav, He. Now, some people take issue with it because in some dictionaries, they regard that as masculine, which is true. But you should get to a certain level of study. Anyone can tell you this, where you're able to correct the dictionary. The dictionary is still made by man. This is why our brothers and sisters in the Kemetic community who follow the work of Wallace Budge, they'll tell you it's a great dictionary overall, but it has several errors. Nonetheless, it's a dictionary, but it contains several errors. So when you are advanced in your craft, and in this instance, we're speaking about language, you're not advanced until you can correct the dictionaries. So yes, some dictionaries will say Elo is masculine, but watch the icing on the cake. You can go to places in the Bible where it speaks of goddess. And don't you know the word used is Elo? That's the root there. The same word I'm telling you is feminine. It's used there. People forget that the Bible doesn't just speak about gods, but the mention of goddesses is also there as well. And when I say the mention of goddesses, I don't mean the worship as the children of Israel worship. The children of Israel worship the Creator exclusively. But at times, the narrative speaks about the worship of other nations. So we mention goddesses. And in so doing, the term Elo is used. So to act as if this is asinine or this is new or this is my creation really points to people just not having a firm grip on the language. You know, I had a conversation with someone yesterday who was old enough to possibly be my grandfather, you know, and, you know, he was very ruffled in his feathers about my take on the language, because he said that in all of his YouTube training and in all of his online training, and this is his words verbatim, you know, he had never encountered what I'm saying. So, you know, then I had to give him my pedigree, you know, because I don't come from YouTube when it comes to my training of the language. I don't come from looking at websites when it comes to my training of the language. I actually have formal teachers that have helped me over the years to carve out my language. I also took it in college. So, you know, in a nutshell, Sonetta, when you have people that are looking into the Bible, whether they be Hebrew or not, if you can't understand that the concept of God must include some aspect of feminine prowess, some aspect of feminine energy, then it's asinine, because then you have to ask yourself, do you understand how life is produced? When you look throughout nature, remember we say exoterically and even esoterically, as above, so it is below.
Correct. As
it is above, so it is below. That means if we can look in nature and notice that it's the feminine principle that brings forth life, that it's the feminine quality that brings forth life, then how could you look at the Creator, who you style as the creator of all life, and not be able to see that there is a great feminine presence there as well?